All right, Dan, so today's episode should be a good one, diving into one of gaming's biggest success stories, mobile gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. The industry that went from snake on a Nokia to people spending £47,000 on a virtual chisel.
Imagine explaining that in the year 2000. One day, phones will be as powerful as consoles and people are going to bankrupt themselves tapping on cubes.
Back then, if your phone had a colour screen and space impact, you were basically living in the future, right?
Now we've got battle royales, open world RPGs, football management sims, and somehow adverts every 7 seconds.
Congratulations, you completed level 1. Would you like to watch a 45-second ad for a game that doesn't exist?
Well, mobile gaming has gone from killing time at the bus stop to making more money than console and PC combined.
Yeah, and let's be honest, everyone listening has had a phase. Candy Crush, Clash of Clans, Angry Birds, Wordle. Don't deny it.
So charge your battery, turn your brightness down, hide your credit card details.
Because today we are talking all things mobile gaming.
Dan with a gaming flair, pixel dreams and worlds to share, joystick tales and button cues. Welcome to Gaming Views.
Yes, hello and welcome to another episode of Gaming Views. And that's right, today we're going to be diving into mobile gaming, the land of cracked screens, low battery anxiety, and games that somehow need 3 GB of updates every other day. And I couldn't do this without someone who's basically built their personality around push notifications, daily rewards, and perfectly timed rage quits. This is a person who knows exactly when the energy refills, never misses a login bonus, and definitely said, I'm not spending money on this game right before spending money on that game. It's my co-host for the podcast, Dan H. Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
Good. Spending money on this game. Only twice. Yeah, I'm good. Your intros are so wonderful, but it's like you don't actually know me. Because I'm the opposite of all the things you always say.
You're breaking the facade there. You're breaking the facade.
Sorry. Yeah, people, I'm exactly what that says.
This is going to sound horrible. You could be whatever I want you to be for the next hour and a half, all right?
Bit weird. Yeah,
just a little
bit weird.
Yeah, let's move on. I did chuckle again at Wordle in the intro because it has felt like the last few weeks, and I've got my wife doing Wordle as well now, and it feels like every day it's a battle of making sure I get Wordle done. Because I know you and then Joey is going to message me Wordle for the day.
I do. But you'll have noticed a habit of mine, which is generally I don't bother at the weekend. I'm not a Wordle. What's it called? The run thing. I don't. Yeah. I don't really care for that. Like today's a bank holiday. I had other stuff to do. I didn't bother.
I was on a 52 streak and I lost it, and that really wound me up. Yeah, really wound me up. More so than
52.
More so than losing on FIFA, which I haven't played for years now. But anyway,
did you swear? Would you swear when you forgot to do Wordle?
I probably let out an expletive of some sort. No, I probably did.
Isn't there something in the brain that says if you do something 21 times, it becomes a habit? Shouldn't it have been habit forming by then, and you'll have just gone, oh, it's a habit, I should automatically do it? How did you forget?
No, I didn't forget. I just didn't get it. I failed. I failed. Yeah,
sorry,
even worse. No, it's a rub the salt in a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, no, I just don't bother doing it. That way, it didn't bother me. Fucking Wordle.
But it kind of does link in. Oh, and I sent you a list of other games. I said to you the other day that I went down a rabbit hole on TikTok of other similar games. So what was it? I sent you Don't Wordle, Pixel Letter, and Colourful, I think.
Yeah, I've got them here. I haven't looked at any of them yet. But yeah, Don't Wordle, Pix Letters, and Colourful. Colourful.
Not, it's not Wordle, it's Colourful.
Colourful.
But anyway,
I sent you a picture of a pizza.
Yeah, you won. Yeah.
Dan, here's all the interesting shit, and I go, here's some food.
You won. Pizza always wins. Let's do housekeeping before I forget.
Wonderful.
Well, do you want to do it? Because you do it so well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. And we do appreciate it and generally love interacting with you guys, hearing all your questions and points of view. Please do, if you kindly haven't done already, please do subscribe. It doesn't mean a lot to you, but it does mean the world to Dan and I, small content creators. And it just gives us a measure of how well we're doing. So thank you very much. And please like and subscribe.
Yeah, and on that, do you know what? I'm going to do comment corner now. There's a feature now.
Is this a feature?
It's a feature.
Oh, fuck it, we've got a new feature. Whatever Dan said.
Comment corner.
Thanks, mate.
So this is for our episode on games of the year so far, where we looked at the first quarter of the year, or first third now. No, first quarter. Oh, I can't do numbers. Anyway, that's why we talk games.
I think it's still a quarter.
Yeah. So Mid-Age Podcast said, thanks for the shout out, gents, because I mentioned wrestling game. He said, unfortunately, I have to partially agree with Dan H, which this hurt me. In as much as modern wrestling games are pretty poor. However, WWF WrestleFest, WCW, NWO Revenge, and WWF No Mercy exist. So there's at least 3 out of the 3 million wrestling games that aren't rubbish. Then he mentioned, because you talked about a wrestler who did cosplay of game characters. He said it's Zelina Vega is the one who always dresses up as characters from various games. And I think, if I'm right, I think she's just been released from WWE anyway. But
you say prison then?
No, maybe she can come on and talk about it now. Right. So we also had a comment on one of our clips. So we were talking about, you were talking about Crimson Desert. And this is at Piappers. Said, been gaming since 1984, best game they've ever played, which I know you all
not wrong.
Yeah.
Not totally not wrong, dude. Like, it is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk a lot about this episode, I promise. I'm playing it.
On the clip about the Valve discount tracker, we were talking about Valve introducing that. Frosty said, honestly, kind of huge. That information is going to make knee-jerk purchases a lot easier to navigate when sales roll around. Yeah, like any of us need that extra encouragement.
Yeah. Please give me another tool that makes me go, I'll just buy that, shall I? 200 Steam games, I still haven't played about 4 of them.
Yeah. Actually, there's something in the news about that this week. And we had on our Pragmata clip, the one where you talk about buying it twice, but who was it? Eon Calcos 2631 said €60 for 19 hours of gameplay is insane.
Is it though? I saw this and I thought, look, each to their own when money's concerned. I totally get that, right? And it's a gaming view, right? Yeah. But my point on this is, I can pay that for me and the missus to go and sit in an IMAX to watch a movie for 2 hours, including popcorn, including snacks, right? But I got 19 hours or whatever it was of utter enjoyment. Look, 60 quid is nuts, especially if you're nearly paying it twice. I agree, but. I fucking love that game and I will die on that hill that I'm more than happy to pay 60 quid to play that game for 19 hours and go back to it if I choose to. I did on the PC a little while ago and I'll explain why later. But I think that's fine. I think it's absolutely fine.
And I think Capcom have confirmed that it's going to be a franchise now. I think I responded with along lines of, this is where we live in now though, where, likewise you've been playing Crimson Desert for probably now 100 hours. So it's a buyer's market. Maybe we'll see. Then we had a few over on TikTok. So on the Crimson Desert, we had Butters Gaming said, this was where I think you mentioned about the reviews it had got. It said it's like Rotten Tomatoes with the movies. A real movie lover will know they are wrong a lot of the time. We can no longer trust game review channels unless they are independent, and even then it's hit and miss.
Yep, agreed.
Sheng Zhang Fu said, I made sure I went into this game completely clueless and didn't look up any tips, info, etc. I'll be honest, first 8 to 10 hours feel like a grind, but it all paid off for, as of right now, over 120 hours of gameplay, and I've still got easily another 100 worth of content. The game is amazing for me.
That Crimson Desert game?
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And then I had Joey from Game Club Pod tell me off because you asked me, I talked about playing Minecraft with him and you said, was it his world or my world? I said it was his world. And he said it was R in capitals world. So yeah, I was.
You're only hurting yourself and then.
He was building it. I was sort of tearing it down. So, yeah, so those are the comments we had. So yeah, as Dan said, please do like, subscribe, and yeah, do leave us comments. I'm hoping at time of recording, the episode is coming out tomorrow, is going to be on backlogs, and that was a brilliant episode, and I really hope people drop us a comment because yeah, that's definitely something that affects us all.
Mine's growing.
So, yeah, moving on.
Sorry,
any more context? I was going to say, any more context?
I'm not that excited to do the podcast then.
Gaming is that exciting. Right. What you been playing? Let's say that.
I can't really remember because I've played a lot of vampire crawlers. I have become strangely addicted to that because I was listening to a couple of other podcasts, and I think it might have been Sean from TCGS who was talking about it, and he was talking about the multipliers. You did briefly mention that in the game there's the ability to multiply cards. So if you start with a 0 rating card and then go to a 1 and a 2, then a 3 in terms of how much mana they cost, it builds up a multiplier, which then builds up the effect of the card. Mm-hmm. And it hadn't really clicked for me when I was playing the game originally. I'd played it for a few hours and gone, yeah, it's really good. My God, as soon as you start doing that and start working, it's only a very simple system that works so effectively. That game just becomes utter crazy. And, yeah, so I've got another number of levels through it, opened another bunch of characters, found another load of secrets and stuff. It's brilliant. It's so much fun. I'm really enjoying it. And it's one of those things you can pick up, play for 20 minutes, put down and not be that fussed because you're like, oh, I've had a really good run, or even if it's a bad run, you've done something, earned some cash to pump into it, because it's a raid card. So I played that. I've played Crimson Desert a bit, and on 2 different machines, and I'll explain for why. So first of all, I want to say thank you to the guys over at scan.co, who built, I paid for, didn't get it for free, I bought a pre-built rig from. I talked about I needed a new rig for editing, and I wanted something that had the flexibility of gaming and editing in terms of performance. So I bought myself a rather expensive, but I think is incredibly powerful PC. It's got a lovely RTX 5080 in it, and it's got a new Gen 7 Intel processor, and it's got RAM and everything. But my God, Dan, it makes everything feel like a new game.
You are very happy.
I am very happy. I struggled with the previous machine I bought, which was a little desktop rig. It was fine, but it was really underperformant on editing. It was fine for 1080p and 1440p kind of gaming. But this thing, now, before anyone starts moaning at you, oh, why didn't you build your own? I did spec my own. I got all the parts on overclockers, and I put them in a basket, and I went, I think I'm going to get that. And just before I did it, I ran it through Gemini, and I just said, and there is a use for AI, Dan, because I said, what do you think of this build for what the purposes I use it? And it kind of did its thing, because it's just a big search engine. It kind of came back and it went, yeah, it's okay. Did you know you can get that exact same one and save yourself about 400 quid on Scan? And I was like, I did not. So I went and had a look, and lo and behold, the same rig was about £400 or £500 cheaper on Scan. Their process is, I was sending you images of this all the way through. Their process for building, they have a clean lab that they build this stuff in, and they list all your parts like most manufacturers do. Then they take a photo of all of your PC parts individually and send them to you in a lovely picture.
It was like, do you remember on game shows where they have the prizes on display? Yeah, it was almost like that.
Exactly,
it's like they bundled it up.
That to you. And then they have a stage gate for each step of the process, and they send you the results, like in terms of, they'll do a memory test, and they'll thrash the PC for 24 hours, and they send you all these like images showing you all of the results. And then they send you a video of your final built PC on a little turntable spinning round. Exactly like a game show, and you're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
I said to you, it's like a mix between having your car MOT'd, where they sometimes send you a video of it, and also ordering a pizza when it said, this is the stage your pizza's at. Yeah.
And within, I think within 5 days, it was in my house under my desk, and it's incredible. It's just such a lovely thing to game on. But like I said, we're talking about gaming. It is awesome. Like, it's running. For those who aren't familiar with NVIDIA, when you fire up a game, what the what the app will do. NVIDIA will optimize that game for you, what it thinks is the best way to run it. In Crimson Desert, it just went, have everything at cinematic, and it just looks amazing. The video I did last week for it is actually of it running on my rig at a full 4K. I've got it logged in at 60 frames a second. I'm happy with that, but that's mainly due to my monitors and nothing else. I played more of that, and it looks brilliant. I also rebuilt the old little desktop thing that I had into a Steam console. So I follow something now. Because it's NVIDIA, it's not as simple as sticking Bazzite on it. So what I've done is I've actually used Xbox Game Mode, but stuck a new front end on it called Omnichannel, which allows me to bypass Windows settings and put it into a Steam front end. I can still drop back into Windows and play through there. But I've been running Crimson Desert on that through the TV downstairs. So I'm now playing, Crimson Desert at 1440p flawlessly, 60 frames a second, with a few tweaks and stuff to the settings, on a big 65-inch TV downstairs. And that's joyous as well, because again, it just feels like a new game. It's so responsive. It just feels brilliant. So mainly playing that. And then the other game I've been playing, which I completely blame you for, because last week you mentioned Power Washer Simulator 2. I was thinking, Dan's been playing that through someone's Steam account, because you share an account, don't you, to play some of this stuff. And I thought, he's been doing that. And then I just went, it's on Game Pass. So let me see what all the fuss is about. That's it. I'm locked in now. I've literally just spent the last 2 hours after I got back from a bit of shopping, power washing a house.
Are you on the house?
And my wife's like, why aren't you doing this outside to our house? That's all I'm getting now. She's like, I think you're mad. Why are you sitting there cleaning stuff? And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know
weird,
why I'm doing
it.
It's so weird, but it's so good. It's so good. But then you get these little things that are like, these little text messages as you're power washing, not in real life, in the game. Kind of going, somebody's stolen the jewels off of this thing, and the mermaid's jewels, and you're like, have I got to go and now find it? Is there something going on? Is it going to open up a little bit? So I'm quite enjoying that as well. Yeah, I think that's all I've played this week. I tell you what I have played. Sorry, what I should know. Yes. I genuinely think right now this thing's got Game of the Year written all over it. I download the demo, and I'm so chuffed that the game's out in early access tomorrow. I download the demo of Dead as Disco, and that game is amazing. Like, it's a weird mashup of the Arkham combat and like a rhythm game.
It's like everything, even like Guitar Hero. It's kind of all those.
But it's so satisfying to pull off combos to the beat of music. It's basically a 3D brawler. And there are stages in it. And so I think there are 8 stages that are boss battles, and you do it you basically got the length of a song. And I assume some other levels have multiple songs to go through and fight enemies, to get through to a boss. And you only get through to the first boss in the demo. And then you have an unlimited amount of kind of, free play time, I guess, in an arena battle combat style to see how far you can get in each one to the beat of music. Every hit you land on the beat of your music ups your combo. So your idea is to build as big a combo as possible, and that gives you special abilities and things like that. The game is it's so satisfying to be playing a game like, to a song like Maniac, and just hit the beat on every beat of the song. And what's even more brilliant about it, and I haven't yet done this, but I am definitely going to, is you can upload your own music.
Yeah, that's what I'd be interested
against
in.
I want to go in and beat people up to Oasis and Foo Fighters and, Linkin Park. And the game's phenomenal. I don't know how more people don't know about this thing. It is amazing. It's ludicrously, the aesthetic is mad, like in terms of bright, in your face.
Yeah.
But it just flows so well. And the combat is absolutely awesome. So early access tomorrow.
Last week when you're listening to this,
last year, 5th of May, it comes out in early access on Steam. If you haven't tried it, go try the demo. I don't think it's on consoles, but I can't see a place where it won't be, although the uploading of your own music might be a bit tricky in that. But imagine if you could connect it to your your Spotify or Apple Music account or something like that.
That would be pretty cool.
Would that be?
Yeah.
But yeah, I played that, and I've played a few hours of it now, and I cannot wait till tomorrow so I can get my hands on the full game and start doing some boss battles and stuff, because I can imagine there's some really cool mechanics they could get in there. But yeah, that is the roundup of what I've been playing, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've had a real eclectic week, actually. I did try the demo, Dead as Disco. I say I'm going to wait. I want to try it on my laptop because, like I said to you, for me, the real interest would be the uploading your own music. So I'd try that. A couple of things I didn't have on my list. So I did a bit more, laughing, I did a bit more Minecraft. I did a bit more Minecraft. I ran around in Minecraft world with Joe, and I think actually Frosty joined that one as well. So hi to the both of you. I think the highlight of that was I found a cave. So obviously I had to go in it. Then I fell in a hole in the cave and went quite down, and I couldn't get back out. And I was saying, like, help. And then Joey said, where are you? And then he was looking on the map and he goes, yeah, you are quite far down, aren't you? So he goes, right, I've dug a hole. And then he goes, and I said, but where are you? And he goes, look up. And I looked up, and what he did, he launched himself into the hole. So he just fell down, killed himself. So he had all the blocks there, fell out, so I could then build up. But I said, but I then built up. And I said, I can't see, these were the words, I can't see the hole. And then he goes, it's there above you. I said, no, maybe I built it in the wrong place. So he just kept falling through the hole so I could see where I had to build this tower.
You children in Minecraft.
So a bit of that. He bought me 101 cats in Dublin, which I completed. I found all the cats in Dublin. I had a blast New Star GP on the Steam Deck, which is I think it's had its roots in mobile game, but it's like a Formula One type game. But the main set game, this is what I'm saying, I had a real eclectic week. So completed Mouse PI on the Steam Deck. Really good game. I think for me, it got a little samey. Not necessarily a criticism. I think for me, it could have almost been a couple of hours shorter, because I think I got about 12 hours out of it in the end. And I know we were talking game length, but I think for me, look, it does everything really well. There's such a funny and wide variety of weapons. And, the humour is quite there. They do mix up the enemies. But I just feel like for me, once I was about 3/4 in, I just found myself wanting to complete it. If you know what I mean. But still, really solid game. And again, the animation they do is brilliant.
It looks incredible.
Really
as a piece of art, it looks amazing. I've not played it, but it does. And I hadn't realised it was actually pretty reasonable in terms of pricing. It was like 25 quid or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might at the right time, maybe when it comes down a little bit, pick out, because I'm not interested in getting it straight away, but it does look great.
Yeah, no, and there's like I said, there's plenty of game in it. So yeah, completed that. I then picked up, because it was quite cheap, again on the Steam Deck, it was Invincible Presents Atom Eve. Now, as someone who's not familiar with the Invincible universe, don't feel you have to be. I think if you are, obviously you'll get more from it. But fun little game, really short. It's probably about 2-3 hours. But it's presented as a comic book where you're having conversation with other characters in the Invincible universe. You're picking choices. And then you've got a turn-based battle. So there might be, depending on which options you choose, there might be 1 or 2 of those per chapter. It's not a lot. I think there's like 10 chapters. And then you've got skill trees, 3 skill trees, which you can upgrade. And, it's short. And if you're looking for a turn-based battler, it's probably not for you, because it's more, I would say, the visual novel side than it is the turn-based. But it's
but like Dispatch wasn't really the Dispatch thing. It was more is it that kind of, right?
Yeah. But I would say there was more of the Dispatch in Dispatch than this. But, it's fun, really colourful. I really enjoyed the game. It was quite a gentle game in that sense. It's not taxing at all. And yeah, I just found it really fun. It's made me want to check out now Invincible, because I'm not really aware of it.
I love Invincible. I'm a huge fan of Invincible. And that's from back in the day when they first, when Robert Kirkman first launched Invincible. He of Walking Dead fame, for those who aren't familiar, is his take on superheroes. It's an incredible story. and Amazon have done it justice in terms of the TV show. It differs slightly in some of the storylines, but I got into the habit of buying. I bought the first couple of graphic novels of it actually, in TPB in paperback, and then do you remember Comixology?
Yes,
yeah, right. So they started doing, when they were around before they got bought out by Amazon, they do every so often they do like omnibus editions. So I bought like the Boys omnibus edition, and you'd get a whole collection of them because there's hundreds of issues of Invincible, and I managed to build up the entire collection over the course of about 6 months or so in these sales of Invincible end to end, the whole story. Read them all. And I'm going to go back and read them actually because they're just so brilliant. And then, like I said, Amazon have done this thing, and then they've done this spin-off with Atom Eve, and the Atom Eve is the main character's girlfriend in Invincible. So I'm interested in picking this up. Did you play it on Steam? Was this? Or?
Played it on Steam, yeah, Steam Deck.
Okay,
yeah.
I might have to pick it up.
Fun little game, like I said, 2-3 hours, and it's it was fun because you can unlock traits in the skill trees to pick better options in theirs, and obviously there's achievements based on what you do. So that was fun. And like I said, the comic style, the colourful, and it's done like panels. The panels fly into the screen like you're reading the comics. So it's just done really well. It's a great little game. Then I thought I should give this Steam Deck a bit of a rest, so I moved over to the Xbox, and I did try Aphelion, the one that's in conjunction with the European Space Agency.
Yes,
It wasn't for me.
It's not for me, Dan. It's not for me.
Look, I played, and it might be a bit unfair. I probably did about 3 hours. I did the first 4 chapters, and it just wasn't for me. I think I said to you, we watched it in one of the trailer on one of those game shows, and they made it look a lot more actiony, a lot more, and I love Don't Nod, so I love the original games, but the first 4 chapters as well, there's not that much in terms of the story, it feels like, either, or conversation. So I said to you, start the game off, you've got the 2 characters in the intro, then they get split up, and chapters 1 and 2, you're playing as one of the characters, and she's trying to get to a high point, and all she keeps saying is, I wish Thomas was here. Thomas, I wish you were here. I wish you could see this. And it's just navigation, and it's the same thing. So imagine all the mechanics from games like the traversal mechanics from like Tomb Raider, God of War, all in one game. So hand ledges to grab onto, kind of a winch points to throw a winch and swing across, momentum, walk slowly across ice, balance on a beam of ice. And then you go to the other character, and he's like, Ariane. And it's the same, but he's got an oxygen mechanic where you need to keep topping up his oxygen as you're going along. Why, she's fine without the oxygen. But it just, for me, in those first 4 chapters, anyway, for me, wasn't compelling enough. Like I said, the original Life is Strange is great because you've got the characters and they're talking to each other and it's their relationship. If you're watching this, and you probably tell me if chapter 5 is where it all changes, I'll go back to it. But I just wasn't having fun with it. So yeah, I don't know if it's turned your eye or.
No, I saw it was out, and I did that thing where I kind of went, I wonder how it's doing. So I had a look across a couple of reviews, and none of them were like it was a standout. And when you get to a certain age as gamers, you kind of like, time is quite precious in terms of what you're prepared to put time in and what you're not. And I just wasn't prepared to give it a go. It was just, I just thought, it fucking looks boring. I watched a couple of videos, and I've done, I've played Starfield. I've done boring space. I don't want to do, I want to do exciting space from now on.
Yeah. The thing is, it does well. Like the traversal thing is good. It's not that's clunky or bad. It's just, I wasn't having fun with it. And for me, that's so, I thought, well,
I made the right choice.
Yeah. So there was that. And then literally I added one today. I started one yesterday on the Xbox because, again, it was in my backlog. And talking of backlogs, go check out the awesome episode that Dan sort of put together last week. It's a game called the Thaumaturge. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. What an odd but great little game at the moment. I'm playing. Have you seen
really
it? Played
pleased.
it?
I literally, when it launched on Game Pass last week, I downloaded. I had it.
Was it on Game
Pass?
I think I'd bought it a while ago in the sale. So.
Okay. I immediately downloaded it because I've been wanting to play it for a while and haven't got around to it. So it is literally sitting there on my backlog, waiting to be the next game I play, which I should have done because it was a choice between that and Power Wash Simulator 2. And I was like, I'll just see what all the fuss is about. And I'll probably turn off and go back to the Thaumaturge. But
how funny, because you play it, because we've not spoken about this. And I said, I think I picked it up when it was on sale. Now, so no spoilers because you've not played it, but it's great. It's like an isometric RPG, plenty of cutscenes, but you play a thaumaturge in, I think it's like 1880s Poland, I think it is, and it's a person who can see like emotions left on items in the world, and it's a turn-based battler, but it's not that intense. I mean, again, I'm fairly early on. But you've got these things called salutors, which are like these ghostly beast type things. Like the first one you start with is like a skeletal being that you can talk to through the game as well.
Right.
And there's you use that skill to solve missions and things. But like I said, I'm probably 3 hours in, and I'm really having fun. And again, it's one of those games that I don't recall having a big fanfare or even being well played.
It came out and it did quite well. But again, it was one of those things where like, hey, it looks quite good, but I don't really want to pay for that because I'm not really, there's certain games I love to pay for, and I do pay for a lot of games, but there are certain games I'm like, I can probably wait for that. And then, like I said, but as soon as it popped up, I was like, I'm having that. So so it's literally sitting there waiting for me to start it. So does it? I wonder if it will work well on a handheld.
It probably would. What I would say is when it goes isometric, it can be quite small. Some of the things might be quite small, so it might be a bit, but there's no reason why it shouldn't, because I don't think it's graphically intensive. And everything
it was more the writing, because the Asus ROG can handle quite a lot you throw at it. So it was more like is the text going to be too small, or is it going to, so I'll see if it's optimized anyway. Yeah,
try it. I think it's more when you're in the 3D world, it might look a bit small. I've seen a couple of reviews when I went, because I started playing it, I thought I'd have a look afterwards. And I've seen a couple of reviews say it's quite wordy. Now, I don't think it is. It is in a sense, there's lots of pickups. There's lots of newspapers, notes and stuff like that. But you can obviously read them, you don't have to. But in terms of the game, like Disco Elysium, I would call that wordy.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't
wordy.
You've got conversations, you'll pick a response, but it's not like you're wading through loads of on-screen text, unless, like I said, it's when you pick up the newspapers and stuff. So, I'd recommend it. Like I said, only a few hours in, but
Good. I'm going to take your recommendation and double down and start playing it.
Yeah. So, that's what I've been playing. So, a weird eclectic mix. And I started another one today, but I'm not putting it on the list because then it gives me something to say next.
We can talk about next
week. Yeah, because I'll probably still be playing the Thaumaturge and Power Wash. So, let's move on to news. And it's an eclectic's a word. It's an eclectic mix of stories this week. I think we were both saying, because we're recording this on bank holiday, and it's been a bit quiet news-wise. And I think when I say eclectic, I think I've also mixed up the order in which I'm doing this. So, sort of like mystery news. So,
news roulette.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. When I said earlier, when you talked about backlog, there's news. I saw this. This is funny. So this was on PC Gamer. There's a game coming out this year where you fight your Steam backlog, and it's more dangerous the more money you've spent. So,
pretty cool. You literally fight your backlog.
Yeah, you do literally. So here we go. Where is it? So the game is called Game Quest: The Backlog Battler. And it's a goofy horde battler by developer Nick Taylor, where you literally fight your backlog. They're represented by sliding floppy disks, and various stats affect their behavior and abilities. Steam games you've barely played, so up to 2 hours, are your enemies, and the more you paid for them, the more damage they do. If they have a high Metacritic score, they can fly, and you'll need to swat them to death with your keyboard.
Okay.
You'll have help though, as the games you play the most will back you up.
Oh, that's a relief. My 350 hours in Half-Life 2 and 102 hours in Crimson Desert should suffice, I hope. That's insane.
Yeah, there's no release date yet, but look, as long as obviously it's a good game, I think it's fascinating to buy because, you know, I wonder, everyone's game is going to be then slightly different, isn't it?
Although I suspect, as you'll know, if you listen to last week's episode, that there will be a lot of people with a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
If games you've not played for under 2 hours, like if games you've not played at all are the bosses, I'd be fighting a lot of bosses as well. Because I think I've got about 200 games on my Steam account. I've played about 20 of them.
The hardest Dark Souls ever. But again, you know, we talk about...
That's very cool. I like
we
that.
talk about innovation in consoles, etc. And this is the sort of stuff, like I said, if they do it well, you know, the less you've played it, the more powerful they are. If they've got a good Metacritic score, they've got more powers as well, like they can fly. It's just a cool idea. Yeah. More stuff like this, right?
Yes, more, please.
Totally on a different tack now. Exclusives. Yeah, God, exclusives is the word at the moment, isn't it? You know, whether should or shouldn't be.
It is.
There was a survey.
Especially if you're Microsoft.
Well, yeah. To exclusive or not to exclusive, that is the question.
Yeah.
There was a survey. So this is on Eurogamer by Circana, and they found that 41% of surveyed gamers play on a console because of its exclusive games. The statistic comes from its Q1 Future of Video Games Consumer Survey, in which those were surveyed were 2,500 active US video gamers aged 13 plus. Now, in the survey, gamers were asked why they played games on a console, and 41% responded that exclusive games were the reason they chose that platform, while 38% responded that having friends and family also playing on the same console system was a reason to stay attached to one. It's being easier to play with friends and family on a console game in third place at 37%, while preferring to play video games in a more casual environment like a living room was a reason for 36%. And finally, more options to buy physical games on consoles was a reason for a respectable 24%. Now, the only thing I'd add before I throw over to you, so while console exclusives was the leading reason, it actually saw an 8-point decrease compared to the same time last year. Meanwhile, preferring to play in a social setting saw a decrease of 4 points. So, you know, I know it's only obviously a small survey in context of gaming as a whole, but yeah, what's your view on that?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been driven to buy based on exclusivity, because I started out very much as an Xbox game. It was the primary console I got, and then I think I've said before, and then I got a PS1 weirdly, and then I got a PS2. But all the while, I've consistently purchased from Gen 1 Xbox all the way through. But I don't think, I mean, yes, the original one was based on Halo, because I'd said it enough times to my then girlfriend that she bought me an Xbox with Halo. But other than that, I don't think my purchases have been based on, I think I got into the Xbox club and just became, you know, that person who just bought Xbox. And then I think it was from the 3 onwards, I really started getting PS3, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5. And I do love them. And if it was all about exclusives, I would have just pivoted to PlayStation straight away, because all of my favorite exclusives, I think, more so than Xbox, have always been on PlayStation. You know, like Uncharted, Last of Us, Spider-Man, you know, all of these games, Ratchet and Clank, they've all been games that have been exclusive to Sony until they launched on PC. God of War, like everything. So, yeah, I mean, you know, on Xbox, it's kind of been Halo for me, and that's been about it. I'm not a massive Forza head. I don't care much about that sort of stuff, you know. So, and Sony have it in the bag, I think. So, yeah, I've never been one who's driven down that path. So it's interesting to see that a lot of other people are. It doesn't surprise me that it's falling, especially in the day and age where, you know, you look at a lot of the up and coming gamers, they are very much all into, you know, Fortnite, Roblox, all that sort of stuff. They are, more in a cross-platform gaming world than I think we were as we grew up and played games. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's falling. I wonder, because Nintendo obviously have, their exclusive has been exclusive and will never be anything but exclusive, I think, in terms of, I know Mario was launched on other things like the, CD TV and stuff like that, but really, Nintendo's the home of Mario, it is the one big thing they've got, along with Donkey Kong and Kirby and, these other mascots that they have. They've got the broadest range of kind of these exclusive mascots. So I wonder how many of them were kind of Nintendo, because I think you and I, when we talk about games, we often leave Nintendo to the side because they're the crazy guys sitting off eating their popcorn, watching the nonsense that Xbox and PlayStation pull out of the bag. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but I don't know if it says the stats about who said what, but
no, it probably does if you go into it. Because my thing is, I would like to know the ages of the respondents, because the reason I ask is because, like you and I'm with you. Exclusives don't sway me, but then we've been gaming for so long that we've probably over the years we might have Xbox and PC, Xbox and PlayStation. I know you've got sort of that in the Switch. Whereas if it was 15-year-old Dan and Dan just starting out gaming now, we're not going to be able to get all of them. So what we would go for? Maybe I think I would go for the PlayStation because the exclusives, I think I probably would. So I do think age, or more, actually probably more importantly, stage of gaming life is really relevant there. But yeah, imagine sort of coming into gaming now when you've got all that laid out before you, like a massive PC gaming library, a massive Nintendo sort of, console and gaming, Xbox, PlayStation, it's sort of brilliant, but intimidating at the same time, right? So,
it's interesting.
I was going to say, let us know your views.
Always.
Exclusives or not too exclusive, as I said. Right.
Should Xbox go back to exclusives?
Yeah. I think they need to know. They want to know that. So write in. This is an interesting headline. I know it's been done obviously for the clicks too, but it's been said. So this is over on PC Gamer. So Take-Two CEO wants to ensure GTA 6's price feels very reasonable, but also says that games aren't as expensive as they could be right now.
It's weird for a CEO of a games company to say, they could be more expensive, just let me just prep you for that.
Yeah. So to paraphrase the interview, as they say, look, everyone has their own theories about how much they'll be paying for the game. And while I think we'll be seeing a $100 price tag, Take-Two's Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick has recently qualified it will be reasonable. Consumers pay for the value that you bring to them, and our job is to charge way, way, way less of the value delivery, Zelnick said. How you feel about something you buy is the intersection of the thing itself and what you pay for. Consumers need to feel like the thing itself is amazing and the price they would charge was fair for what they got. If you look at it through that lens, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that isn't the lens that we look. Instead, we look at how do we deliver something amazing, and how do we make sure what people pay for it feels very reasonable. So, and I'll throw it over to you. So let's bear in mind at the moment that major release is around the $60 to $70 mark. And let's also, go back to the start of the podcast where, we're said at the moment we are paying the same price for a game that's taking 189 hours, we mentioned last week, to get all the achievements, to a game that you could complete in 6 hours. Value is such a funny word now, isn't it?
Yeah. Like based on a comment of, paying 60 quid for a game you spend 19 hours with, I totally get it, right? And it's a very personal thing as well, value, right? What you get and what you're prepared to pay for something is subjective. I wouldn't personally pay $100 for GTA 6. Right. And yes, I know they've pumped billions of dollars into doing this, but let's be honest, how much they say they make a day out of GTA Online now? 50 million or something. It's ridiculous a day for that, or 14 million. I can't remember.
Enough that their share price went up when that data got leaked. Yeah.
Right. It's insane. So yes, they pumped a lot of money into it. I mean, fuck those guys. I hate when the CEOs come out and go, "Oh, you should feel really privileged that the price is going to be reasonable, but it could be far more expensive. Count yourself lucky." And you're like, "No, thanks." Because £70 is a lot of money when people are still trying to, put food on the table and, just to get away from life and play in a different reality for a couple of hours a day. So screw you and your mansion and your yacht and everything else that you've got. You know what I mean? I like it. Do what Nintendo did this week. Do what Nintendo did and say, do you know what? If you're paying for a physical game, it's going to be, 70 or 60 quid. But if you're going to buy it digitally, we'll charge you 50 quid. Do the right thing. All right, don't sit there and tell people how privileged they should be because it could be a lot more expensive for you. All right, that doesn't undercut the effort that goes into making these things and that, but you know what I mean? Like, know your audience, man.
It's a fascinating subject, and this is one I really would like people to let us know their views, because let's say, look, right, I could buy GTA 6 and I might play it for 6 months solid, right? 6-7 months solid. And, you look at the value of that in terms of how much enjoyment I've got from that. Slap a $100 price tag on it, or what, sort of £80, £90 for a base game. And I'm not going to get it. Because, and look, maybe we are entrenched, again, the fact that we said just now that we've been gaming a while, and gaming's always been around sort of like the £40-50 mark, but paying £80-90 for a base game just feels horrendous, doesn't it? If you think about what £80 is.
How much did you pay for your Xbox Series X?
Oh God, that's a while ago, but I think that was only around sort of $450. I think
right, $450. And they want it, and then they go, "Can you pay £100? Well, you're going to pay nearly a quarter of the price that you paid for your console for a game."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, and then somebody else comes out with the next blockbuster that's going to be $100, because they set a precedent when they do this stuff.
Yes, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, where GTA falls, others follow. We know this; they've done it before, right? Stuff they've done, and people go, "Oh, I'd do that." Or where other games companies do it. You see one of them raise a price, like Nintendo do it, and Microsoft do it, and everyone it's a free for all. So to say that game now costs you the quarter of the price of your console is a bit fucking much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is going to be £100.
No, and they've not said that.
That's not what I'm saying. But they've not said that. But if it was, that is a bit of an insane thing to ask.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's apply this to other forms of media. So a film goes over 2 hours, you pay more to watch a film because it's 2.5 hours. Do you pay more because it's got 2 of the top leading actors in it? It
won't be long before we all have chips embedded in our head that tells us how much fun you had playing it, and then you have to pay for it, like that Black Mirror. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You had this much fun playing it.
Comedy. Don't scream.
Yeah, your money's going to be draining out of your account because you had too much fun playing the game. I'm gonna hate playing this game just so I don't have to pay much for it.
Yeah, and don't sing along to an album because one, obviously I charge more, 2, then you'll get the performing rights people after you.
It just always annoys me when people of privilege, are able to do it. And look, I appreciate I'm in a privileged position, right? I talked earlier about spending a bunch of money on a PC. I get that not everyone can do that. I'm not going to be sorry for being able to do that, but at the same time, I'm not trying to rub it in people's faces. I'm saying for my needs, that's what I needed to do. And people don't know. I might have gone, in debt to do that. I might have done, but the point is, right, to stand up as someone we know is in a privileged position. I don't know his entire story, but, I suspect he's doing all right as CEO of Take-Two.
Yeah.
To sit there and go, well, you should be lucky because, it could be more. Yeah. It feels like they're priming for something a bit sinister, and you're like,
like the article said, look, they've not said what they're pricing it, but they're paving the ground for the base game to be more expensive than $60-70. And look, like you said, they are pumping a lot of money into this, but as they've shown with GTA 5, make a good game, make the content worth coming back for, and that pays for itself. Surely having more people in the theatre paying the admission price is better than
sell more popcorn, right?
Yeah, it's than having less people, but those who are, you're making them pay more. Look, again, I think it's a fascinating subject. Let us know.
I apologise. I'll put my social warrior back in his box now, so I apologise.
No, I don't think I've got any more stories like that. Odd one that broke us over the last couple of days, so it's obviously going to be a bit old, so that when this comes out, we'll know about it. But yeah, GameStop making a $55.5 billion offer for eBay. The cash and stock offer values eBay at $125 a share, $20 more than the company's value when trading ended last week. GameStop's chief executive Ryan Cohen said eBay could be much more successful under his leadership. Morgan Stanley
Which is like GameStop.
Well, yeah. Well, a couple of interesting things about them I'll come up onto in a second.
Okay.
Morgan Stanley said the two companies had fundamentally different business models, while Bernstein pointed to the GameStop smaller balance sheet, saying it would be surprised if anything became of it, because I think eBay's worth 4 times more than GameStop. Now, just interesting, what I saw earlier, and I can't find it here, but what I saw earlier was that the first thing they've said is that they're going to look at making, I can't remember, but I want to say in my head it was like 2 billion, but that sounds crazy. But basically they want to make cost reductions. They think they can make cost reductions. We know what that means, right?
Yeah. I can do it.
Yeah. But also that GameStop recently have been going into like the NFT and crypto world. Because obviously we know physical bricks and mortar gaming things.
Is NFT still a thing?
Allegedly. Well, if you...
Non-fungible tokens. Are they still really a thing, Dan? God, yeah. I thought they'd gone.
So, yeah, odd one, right?
It was 2 billion within a year of the deal being completed. Yeah. How do you find 2 billion savings in a company?
Well,
that's insane.
You know how they do that. And that's not going to spell good news, I think.
I like this when they put an offer in front of a company and they said, GameStop, which currently has a stock market valuation of 11.9 billion, we know why. Robinhood said it as a commitment letter from TD Securities to provide around 20 billion in debt to help finance. I don't know about you, I love going into debt to take over a company.
Well, that was the other thing. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it here in football, so the Man United fans will be very well familiar with that. It's like, I think they got taken over, but I think they were like 400 million in debt already because that was the debt.
Yeah, this is the EA buyout as well, right? This is EA.
Yeah,
the Saudi buyout of EA. And it said it makes sense for GameStop because it could lift its valuation by being linked with a larger company like eBay, but also said it would saddle eBay with GameStop's debt.
I love this, right? I'm not an economist, right? Just look at my bank balance. But it's like me saying to a business, look, I want to own your business. I can't pay you, and actually, can you help me pay off some of my mortgage and my water bill? But I want to own you now.
I genuinely cannot see anything happen. Just on this article, it says shares in eBay did rise 5.5% on Monday morning in New York, while GameStop fell by more than 4%. No shit. I said to you the other day when we were walking when we talked about this, it's like me, like completely divested interest in what they do and how they do it, like their business models. It's like me going, well, I work in IT, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy that greengrocers around the corner.
Yeah.
And run it.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's like the greengrocer buying Tesco, right? It's
like, well, I work in retail, so surely it must be similar.
So let's keep an eye on that. Like you, I don't expect much to happen from it, but look, strange things happen.
Good luck, GameStop.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you've done well so far.
Yeah. Just finished 2 quick ones. I'm going to say this quickly because it's about Ramageddon. In a headline that won't shock anyone, Samsung say their demand fulfillment rate is now at a record low.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a surprise.
But the second half of the headline is, as it makes its DRAM 90% more expensive than the previous quarter.
I don't even want to know how much it is now, man.
Yeah. I just, I'm only talking about it because of the headline, but I know there's been stories this week. Also, there's a flurry of activity around Valve having received a lot of consoles. Now,
do you know the consoles?
Well, that's what they're called. I think they're marked consoles. But I was actually thinking as well, could this be the the frame? Could it be that?
Mm.
Yeah. I really hope it's the Steam Deck because I want a Steam Deck.
Yeah, I don't know RAM-wise what the frame run. It runs an SoC, doesn't it? It's an AMD SoC, I think, in it, but I don't know what it runs in terms of RAM. But yeah, it wouldn't be, because the Steam machine, I think, just uses standard DDR.
Yeah.
I don't think it's SODIMM. I think it's standard DDR in.
But I did see another story just before we started recording today. So it was saying from, often accurate leaker from, is it Moore's Law?
Yeah, Moore's Law is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, they reckon that they think the Steam machine will go for around $600 to $650. They said they think that the Steam are going to want to try to sell it as low as they can, almost at loss, but it is all down to the RAM. So they think they see it at being around $600 to $650.
By that reckoning, that means every other component of that thing is going to cost them. And I know there's economies of scale, right? Because they're going to buy in bulk. But that means the rest of the parts of that PC, including the GPU, is going to come in at just under $200. It doesn't feel something that mathing, Dan.
Well, we will see. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we will see. But yeah.
I've heard a lot of rumblings around Steam Machine getting ready to launch. But
keep your eyes peeled.
My hope is alive for you, my friend. I do hope it.
The final story I want to say is a really random one. It's not technically gaming, but it's in the tech world. And it's going to be more for people of a certain age, Dan, and this Dan as well.
Oh, okay.
So do you remember Ask Jeeves?
I do remember Ask Jeeves, yeah, from many years ago.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves, which then turned into Ask.com, is formally throwing in the towel after almost 30 years. So for those of you who aren't aware, so there used to be more than just Google, right? There used to be many sort of search browsers, search engines. And there was one released, when was it? It must be 95-ish, called Ask Jeeves. And it was, you could see the picture. It was a cartoon of a very sort of spiffy looking butler, wasn't it?
It's butler, wasn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, it was exactly that. You would ask Jeeves a question. Now, I remember using it here quite a lot. And I remember my wife saying she used it when she came out. It was a fairly big search engine. But then it turned into ask.com because I think it kind of felt like an outdated thing. And then obviously the biggest thing is Google, right? Google came out. But yeah, so it was founded in 1996. It was then rebranded to ask.com in 2006. And now, all of a sudden it's, you can't ask Jeeves anymore. So
they used to do TV adverts for Ask Jeeves.
Yes, they did,
remember
didn't
those?
They? Yeah. I think they did for Yahoo as well, didn't they? Sure they did. Yeah.
Yahoo. Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine that?
TV adverts for the internet now.
For search engines.
Google have them, but not for search engines. I don't think. Maybe they do. God, don't know.
So all I'm asking is...
I didn't even know they were still about. You don't need it, right? No. AI does everything. You just ask AI.
And look, and Google is the one, right? It's but if you click on it, it brings a little tear to the eye. If you click on the link now, it says every great search must come to an end as AIC continues to sharpen its focus. We've made the decision to discontinue our search business, which includes Ask.com. After 30 years of answering the world's questions, Ask.com officially closed on May the 1st, 2026. To the millions who asked, we are deeply grateful to the brilliant engineers, designers and teams who built and supported Ask over the decades, and to you, the millions of users who turn to us for answers in a rapidly changing world. Thank you for your endless curiosity, your loyalty and your trust. Jeeves' spirit endures. Tear to the eye.
I'm not that sorry. But
let's know your search engine of choice. And did you ask Jeeves? Can we ask, what did you ask Jeeves? Let us know.
That's for our other podcast search engine views. Is that one? Yeah,
that's the thing though. Once Google come out, Google is like Hoover, right? Hoover becomes a generic term for you don't vacuum something.
Yeah, just Google it. Yeah, what you mean is just go to a search engine. You don't Hoover everything. You vacuum it. No one uses vacuum anymore.
Spotify it. Anyway, that was the news. If you've got any comments on those, let us know. But Dan, we are going to go on to the main topic now. which is mobile gaming. Now,
sit back and just listen. I mean, no,
I know you're not aware of what we're talking about, but I'm going to ask, you can't sit back, so I'm going to ask you a question first.
Oh, okay.
What's your view and or experience in terms of mobile gaming? So is it a thing for you? Has it ever been a thing for you? And if it was, what kind?
No, mobile, I cannot.
Well, that killed 10 seconds. I was hoping for a couple more minutes out of that.
I can give you a couple of minutes. You know me. Mobile gaming. I think the most I've ever done is probably, I played a lot of Candy Crush when I was on holiday once. I was quite bored by the pool and I was like, I just put Candy Crush abroad somewhere. I played a lot of Candy Crush. I quite like match 3 games. And I played a lot of, what's the one with the, where you have the circle of letters and you have to get as many words out of the letters as you can.
Oh, I know the one you mean. I can't remember it, but I know the one you mean.
Some words. It's not Wordle.
Yeah.
It's some word game thing. Not WordPress. That's a website building thing.
Let's call it Wordle. It's like a circle.
Yeah. I played a lot of that. I got a few hundred levels in that as well. Other than that I think that has been the limit of my experience. I've never played the other Kingdom thing. I've never played any of those kind of games. I've seen a lot advertised. My kids enjoy playing them when we go out. Like if we're having dinner or something, they go, "I'm going to play on a game," and they'll play on a game on the mobile because they don't have their own phones. They're too young. And I have a backbone for my iPhone, so which I have used previously, but now I've got the Asus ROG. I just take that with me when I want a mobile game. I don't, there's no point in trying to do it on a mobile, which is kind of like, I mean, I think it was just this last week, Remedy announced that you can get Control on your phone now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I want to play that game, which is beautiful and amazing and stunning? And it feels like they've just done it as a bit of a proof of concept. We can make it work. Why would you want to play a game like that? It's so awesome on a screen that big. Yeah. And I know you can get bigger screen mobiles than mine, but I don't have I have the Pro, but not the extra large Pro, whatever it's called. I fundamentally don't understand the enjoyment. A match 3 game, the simple kind of thing I get. And yeah, back in the day, I probably would have played Snake or some other WAP downloaded game that do you remember WAP, right? Yeah. Right. Wireless application protocol, which showing my age. I probably would have played something similar, but I can't fathom it. And yet, as I'm sure you're about to delight the audience with, it is massive, right?
Well, just to answer that, as of 2025, mobile gaming accounts for approximately 55% of the total industry revenue, generating an estimated $103 billion annually. Now, what I'll say to you as well is I absolutely, again, I can't disagree with anything you said. I was trying to think, as you were saying, is it an age thing? But I don't think it is, because we said a little while ago, consoles are as much of a thing for younger generation now as it is. So it's not just like us old uns play consoles. So I'm trying to understand how you get so hooked on gaming. I'm the same as you. Look, I play pretty much exclusively now. It's like puzzle games, it's word games. I like to play, like I download like the versions of the TV shows, like the 1% Club, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, things like that. Right. The trivia, the general knowledge things. The match 3 games I did like, but I get frustrated with them because after about level 20, they're going to just throw the difficulty up to make you spend more.
Intentionally. So we have to talk about that, because that whole pay to win thing is fucking appalling on those games.
We'll come on to it. I think for me, there's only 2 games I would say I've been addicted to over time. And one is, I mentioned New Star GP at the start and what we've been playing. There's a game called New Star Soccer, I think. Yeah, New Star Football. Okay. Yeah. And it's a really simple football game, which I kind of got addicted to playing that. But really, the one that, and I couldn't believe how long I played for it at the time, but I think I played it for years, not days, was The Simpsons Tapped Out, which has recently shut down.
Yeah.
So, and that will come up. So it was free to play. And I did spend a little bit on it, but that was almost the, not guilt isn't the word, but it's the thing of, I've spent so much time on it and I've enjoyed playing it that I didn't mind putting a couple of pounds in here or there, almost like a absolve the conscience, say I'm giving the developers something because I've been playing it for 8 years. But let's have a look at this. So look, I'm not going to go massively in depth into everything, but if we set the scene. So as you said, phones have gone sort of monumental in terms of how they expanded. So from humble flickering monochrome, let's remember that monochrome displays of the early 90s handsets, to getting ray traced AAA quality experiences and cloud integrated gaming now on mobile gaming. Mobile gaming, has transitioned from a distraction to basically, as I said, an economic force, right, in the games market. Yeah. But how do we go from Snake to a phone that can run Resident Evil better than or as good as a PlayStation 4? Right. So timeline. So the early 80s saw the rise of, now do you remember these, the PDAs, the personal digital assistants?
I do remember PDAs, yeah.
I love these. If you look, they were probably, a number of them were probably made
Palm Pilot and things like that.
Like Alan Sugar as well. You know,
text instruments and Amstrad.
Yeah. So for people, I don't know, imagine something maybe like probably like twice or a size 1.5 times the size of like an iPhone, wasn't it? Probably with a cover that you flip up, and there was a keyboard on it. Yeah. And you could put, because when I had one, I remember, I don't know how I got my hands on one, but you'd put your phone number, your contacts in, your phone numbers, and you'd put a couple of things in, and that was it. Because
at busy schedule, you had that.
At like 16, what am I doing other than getting on my bike and meeting my mate for a game of footy? But yeah, that the 90s, the 80s saw the rise of those and handheld computers that served as precursors to the modern smartphone, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't until the late 80s, though, that these devices integrated gaming as a secondary purpose. So the Sharp Wizard, released in 1989, utilized low-res monochrome liquid crystal displays, or LCDs.
LCDs, yeah.
Yeah, for text processing. But the architecture that was starting to become prevalent in it would allow for simple built-in games or add-on modules. Now, there's a phone that the Haganuk MT2000. I'm just going to call it the MT2000 now.
Oh.
Is recognized as a first mobile phone. Now, it was in 1983 in Germany. They managed to put Tetris on it. So it was the first phone to ship with a pre-installed game. And can you imagine though, playing Tetris on a tiny screen? We're going to get copyright striked for that now.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Now, it was 1-bit, it was flickering, and as this review I found said, it was glorious. But this is why I like the term. It proved that snackable play theory, that we don't need a 40-hour epic when we're on the bus. We just need 5 minutes of a dopamine hit. So you mentioned it, Snake. So if the MT2000 was the proof of concept, the Nokia 6110 was a catalyst for global adoption, because in 1997, Nokia preloaded Snake onto its handsets, and a decision that would inadvertently create one of the most played video games in history. Now, I remember getting...
I love that phone.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the 6110, so I'm just going to look it up. I remember... so my first mobile phone was the 6110. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was that is
aerial hanging out.
With the aerial that you pulled out. Yeah. I got that exact phone when I was, well, how old would I have been? I was 19 when I went to university. So that was when I got my first phone. So we're looking at around 99, I think it was. And yeah, it had Snake, and I can't remember what other game, but it had Snake, and I remember it having the Monty Python theme tune, which any time I met somebody new, I'd say, look what my phone could do, and play the Monty Python theme tune. But yeah, people, I mean, I know you'll probably sort of throw an image up, but it was clunky, it was chunky, and like you said, it had a pull-out aerial on this phone. But it had Snake, and you'll know what the game Snake is, where you play a snake and there'll be a random a pixel appear, you have to collect it, and that would add length to the snake, and you'd have to avoid sort of eating yourself.
Avoid your tail.
Avoid your tail. Now, the brilliance of Snake lay in its simplicity and its exploitation of the phone's keypad, because you had to use the keypad. So it turned a communication tool into a source of gaming. Now, you said you played Snake, right? So was that something that you actually had fun playing, or did you play with it 5 minutes? Oh, right. Okay.
No. Again, like, I was a gamer back then, but I was in it for you know what I'm like, and people who listen to this podcast know what I'm like. I'm in it for the next new shiny thing. I'm a fucking magpie. I'm not bothered about the retro shit. I'm not bothered about Space Invaders and Pac-Man and stuff. I love going to an arcade and playing a game and stuff like that, but it's not something that flicks you buy all that, the museum works and things that I have no interest in that whatsoever. I wouldn't even bother. So for me, even at the time, playing something like Snake was like, fucking, it's just like Space Invaders. It's boring. It's dull. I could go and play Halo. Do you know what I mean? Or I could go and play Mario or whatever. So yeah, never held my attention for more than 5 minutes. What's weird though is a couple of months ago, my girls found Snake on the iPad or something like that, and they were absolutely addicted to it. It was like a more modern version of it with like power-ups and stuff, but they were just addicted to it. And they were like, "Dad, have you seen this game? It's amazing. Have you ever played it?" And I'm like, yeah.
Sit down and let me tell you a story.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. And I was like, "Did you like it?" I was like, "No, it was shit." I hated it.
Do you know what it is with me? Look, I'm not going to say I thought it was the height of gaming, because like you did. I was into my gaming. Yeah, no, I enjoy my gaming. I had my
It was your Mass Effect back in the day.
No, do you know what it was with me?
I would have to go complete a run of Snake 1, 2 and 3 at least once a year.
Do you know? I was the one petitioning for that sequel. Now, do you know what it was for me? Look, I'm not an ultra competitive person. I wouldn't even probably label myself a competitive person. But back in the day, gaming, I was, and it was that challenge. It's like I did want to beat that score. I did want to get, and that's what I think Snake can tap into really well. Like those simple games where it's one screen or it's a single mechanic where it's easy because you can beat a score. Most games now, you don't beat a score. Like Crimson Desert, you don't have a score, Oblivion, etc. No. It's about playing the story. But it was that one more go. I want to get that high score. I want to fill the screen. Like I saw a video recently where someone did do that, and it's like, how the fuck did you do that? do you know what I mean?
What put you off his Snake? Was it Snake Andromeda?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about Snake Andromeda. Right, but it was at this stage. As always, we've mentioned in a couple of stories, especially with the video game Crash. Go check it out. But there was a divergence between Western and Japanese markets, right? So in 1999, NTT Docomo, so DOCOMO, launched the
Docomo,
Docomo, yep. Exactly that. Launched the iMode mobile platform in Japan. So while European and American users were limited to static pre-installed games, iMode allowed Japanese users to download a variety of advanced titles over the air. So effectively, the first game store. Yep. Right. So is this one you're aware of then, Docomo?
I'm aware of Docomo, but I wasn't aware of the stuff behind it.
Yeah, I mean,
the important things.
Yeah, we had, well, let me carry on. So by 2001, the iMode service had reached 20 million subscribers. Think about that, and supported games with visuals approaching 8-bit quality, console quality. So developers like Konami, Namco, and Taito recognized the platform's potential, releasing versions of arcade hits like Space Invaders and Pac-Man. In contrast, the Western market struggled with slow text-heavy wireless application protocols. So as you said earlier, WAP, which limited early interaction. Yeah.
So bad, Dan. It was so bad.
It was so, wasn't it?
I think I've told this story before on here that I got charged. And my mobile company at the time, I was with Orange, for those of you who remember Orange being a mobile provider in the UK. I think they tried to charge me about £400 1 month for WAP data. Yeah. Like it was literally charging me like a penny a second. And I this phone bill came through. They used to send phone bills out in envelopes, people.
Paper, yeah.
It was like that thick, right? Of literally just all this paper. And I was like, what the only way I got out, I had to send a letter to the CEO complaining because they wouldn't hear my complaints on, there was nothing they could do about it. And I actually sent them the phone bill because I wasn't going to pay 400 quid. Sorry, I digress. But yeah, I do remember WAP. I fucking hated WAP. It was shit.
A side story from me is funny when you said about you used to get phone bills in the post, paper. So I mentioned I got my phone at uni. When I graduated, I went to work. I met my now wife. I met my girlfriend there. And as I think I said, my dad was paying my bill. The first bill, I think, after I met my girlfriend, because text, you had to pay per text then.
In pay per text.
It was about, instead of being like one page, it was about 8 or 9 pages. And I was then paying my mobile bill from
I bet you were. Yeah, I bet you were.
Yeah.
I've fallen in love. My phone's gone up.
And you're paying bloody 20p for a text or whatever it was. But we're not here about my financial woes and love life.
No.
The thing about, and the thing is, I want to make the comparison here about Japan to the West. So, like you said as well, WAP was very slow, very expensive, but we were getting games like Connect 4 or Tic Tac Toe, while they were getting games from Konami, Namco, etc. So that was the diversion we had. Now, I looked up Docomo, and in a weird quirk of timing, it's actually shut down. So as of last week, a couple of months ago, 31st of March.
Really?
It shut down its third generation mobile network, 3G, and iMode service. iMode, which was launched on February 22nd, 1999, has now come to its end after nearly 3 decades.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, 3G, it still had 3G on it.
3G, my phone won't work on anything less than 5 these days. Yeah. As soon as it flicks onto a 4G network, my phone goes, don't know what you're doing.
I don't believe the phones when they say what G you're on anyway.
No, that's true as well. Yeah.
So let's jump forward a little bit. So 2003, 2007. So this is where we start going a little bit more advanced, but a bit more fragmentation, and color screens start becoming standard in the mid 2000s. Technically wise, we start shifting towards Java 2 in there, and this platform, allows third-party developers to build and distribute applications, but they also introduce a problem of fragmentation. So a single game would often have to be ported to hundreds of different handset models. We talk now about sort of porting from Xbox to Switch to PlayStation. Here you've got different brands, so Nokia, etc., plus models. And they all had different screen resolutions, processing power, and button configurations, which is crazy to think about as well. But this is where we see the rise of major publishers on mobile like EA and Gameloft, who released Asphalt GT in 2004, which showed that you could have a viable racer on a mobile platform. 2003 has something that I remember you talked about here, the taco phone disaster, otherwise known as...
Oh, don't say it.
Go on.
Don't say N-Gage.
Yep. Well, I didn't. You did. Do you want to remind our viewers and listeners what the N-Gage was?
It was crap, Dan. That was. I mean, what? It was a. It was so weird. It was a taco shaped, literally. That negative space in my hands is the shape of an N-Gage with a tiny screen in the middle that ran things like Tomb Raider and nonsense like that. Keypads on one side and was it a directional pad or something on the other side? Or maybe it was just a split keypad. And to answer a phone, you held it at the side of your like the mic and the boom would at two different. It was so weird.
Wasn't it? Yeah, you held imagine this being like
twice
3
the
times.
Size almost.
Yeah.
It was such a weird thing, and it had such a weird story behind it. Please do. There is an episode we did on like gaming failures, and we talk in depth about the N-Gage and some of the stuff that went on behind the scenes and the launch, and the people and the mafia were involved in racing cars and all sorts. It's an incredible story, but yeah, the N-Gage, no thanks.
So the reason for highlighting this though is because now we play our games on phones without any physical buttons now, and it's just a screen. But this was an attempt by a mobile company to try to actually make a gaming phone. Now, it failed for a number of reasons.
I think it was an attempt for them to line their pockets, but
it failed for a number of reasons, right? Now, as you said, awkward design.
Yeah.
To put in a new game, you had to remove the battery to put the cartridge in.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, you know, and it had a high price point. Now, I won't go into that here now, but you can look.
Yeah.
And also, the device lacked a library of titles that could compete with the Game Boy, which was coming out at the time, the Game Boy Advance, sorry. So, you know, this taught companies that a mobile gaming device must first excel as a phone before it can be accepted as a console, because ultimately at that time, people were still using it for a phone. I think it was still a novelty to have that, even though you had these sort of gaming handhelds.
All those three people must have wondered what they were doing.
I remember I had somebody at work. I knew somebody at work that had it and seen it in real life.
Didn't they show you Tomb Raider or something?
It was Tomb Raider. Well, I think it was Tomb Raider because the screen's like that.
I think it's Lara Croft.
It was an experience. So, but we're not going to traumatize you anymore, Dan.
Thanks.
We will move on. So
there are plenty of other shitty mobile devices.
So 2008, 2010. So this is where you now start getting the app stores, right? So the iPhone came in 2007. So what's that? 19 years ago, we get the first iPhone, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe next year for the birthday 20, they might like give phones away.
Well, they did.
Maybe.
They launched the iPhone X, didn't they? Which was like the next leap 10 years after. So 9 years ago, they launched the X, which was the completely buttonless screen. Because I had the X or the 10, right? But yeah, maybe next year they'll do something novel.
Yeah, like give us
it'll just be up to a certain amount of performance better as everything else is.
I want them to start reintroducing things. Like I remember seeing, I'm sure I saw it as a comedy clip, but yeah. You know, to make the connection between your earbuds and the phone even better, we're going to introduce a revolutionary idea called the cable. It's going to go from the headphone, plug into your phone.
We put a little port on the phone just for this occasion. It measures 3.5 mil.
Yep. So the iPhone launches in 2007. We get the App Store in July 2008. And this was, I think it's safe to say, a disruptor, right? In
huge.
Yeah, right. So prior to the App Store, developers were beholden to mobile carriers who acted as gatekeepers. So to get your phone on a game, you had to actually go through the carriers. The App Store, what that did was centralized distribution, giving developers access to an audience. And at its launch, the store featured 500 apps. So remember that 500 apps on launch. Within 6 months, it had grown to 15,000 apps and 500 million downloads. So as this says here, the gatekeepers were dead. Now, so did you get the first iPhone? Were you on that?
I think I eventually got the iPhone 2 was my first iPhone, I think. I don't think I did. I definitely didn't have the first one. And if I did, I'm kicking myself because I didn't leave it boxed. But yeah, I think I got the first because I think my main interest at the time was in iTunes. And I ended up buying and I don't people remember this. So Apple and Motorola did a joint venture to create a phone that had iTunes built into it. And it was actually a Motorola phone, but with Apple backing before the iPhone came out. So I think I got that because I was so interested in music rather than, having a phone. And then the iPhone launched and it just blew everyone away. No one had seen anything like, they all look the same these days. Nothing looked like the iPhone when it launched at all. Like it was like, if you were there and you saw it, you were like, holy shit. And it was I have to have one of those moments. But yeah, I don't think it was till the 2 launched I actually got one.
Buttons. How do you use it?
But it didn't launch with anything. This was you couldn't even text on the original iPhone when you launched it. Yeah, so I mean, people should go and have a look at this. We haven't got a mobile views channel, but you should have a look at the story behind the iPhone and how it launched and how they, because they're kind of one of the first true proponents of kind of agile development. Because what they did is they launched this phone as almost an MVP to go, does it do the minimal thing? I can phone someone on it. but you couldn't text, you couldn't, none of the messaging was available as a service. That launched, later. So they continually updated it to make sure it could meet the demands of the consumer market. So it was a really clever way to do it. Johnny Ive's design is obviously famous, in terms of the look and styling of the thing. But it was a great thing. And the App Store, I think, was a godsend for anyone who's ever used it, and continues to use it this day. I hate to think what the numbers are today or what's on that thing, because it must be phenomenal.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had a recollection of how you felt when you went to like that first like app-based browsing and like the App Store. Did you? I just trying to see.
Actually, because it was so small then as well. Yeah. You could find anything you wanted, providing it was available, on there. Because none of the Microsoft shit was available on there, like Word or anything like that. And even Apple's versions of it went on there at the time. So it was purely just stuff. Mainly there were games. They weren't terribly complex, but there were games on there. And then it was just other apps, like Calculator and things like that. You were just like, but it was just the novelty of being able to go, it's not WAP.
Yeah.
It
was silly things like you would download like what looked like a pint of beer and pretend you're drinking it, or like a lighter.
Yeah, iPint. Yeah, iPint. Everything was as well. Yeah. It was whatever it was, iPint. And, but you'd literally download it and then you wait for about 10 minutes while it downloaded. Yeah. And it was tiny. It was like 20 meg, and it would like take half an hour to download. And then you'd have to charge your battery because that had drained it just downloading the thing. And then you could pretend to drink it.
Well, you see, I'm kind of like you in the sense of when you look back, phones, all right, now they may have been clunky, but they were unique. They all had an identity. Now, I didn't get an iPhone till quite late on, probably 2012, maybe something like that. Okay. But I remember a mutual friend and colleague of ours, and do you remember, I remember him having an iPhone. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, I remember having
the first one?
I can't remember if it was the first one, but him then showed me, and I think this was when YouTube had the TV icon, its old logo.
Oh, yeah, the old logo.
And just being blown away, because I would buy the cheaper phones. I did have a funky one. I had the Ericsson Walkman twist one, but we're not, like you said, we're not mobile views. But what we're saying is basically, iPhone came in, or Apple came in and totally changed the market, both in what a phone would look like, how it would feel, but
everything, right?
But more importantly, the App Store, right? So initial monetization strategies mirrored the traditional console model, with premium games requiring a one-time purchase. Now, these were like probably 99p. Do you remember they 49p, 99p?
That was the price. Super cheap. Yeah.
I don't recall adverts. So in 2008, approximately 80% of mobile games were paid titles. There were some success stories, like a game called Trism, which was a puzzle game that earned its solo developer $250,000 in profit in just 2 months. So bear in mind, we're not saying the games cost much. $250,000 in 2 months. And the rhythm game Tap Tap Revenge, which achieved 1 million downloads in 20 days.
Remember that?
I don't remember that, but 1 million downloads in 20 days, right? However, the most significant shift happened in October 2009 when Apple enabled what we lovingly call now in-app purchases for free apps. So this paved the way for freemium model, where you remove the barrier to entry, so you don't charge for a game, but revenue is generated from microtransactions. So, if we look at the psychology, you've gone from paying 99 cents or 99p for a free-to-play game. So here comes the first contender, Candy Crush, right? So the hook of it is free to start, right? You don't have to pay anything. But the sunken cost, and this is what we said at the start, you spent 3 weeks, you're on level 450. Are you really going to quit now? Or are you going to spend that $1.99 for 5 more moves? Now, by 2024, Candy Crush had made over $20 billion.
Fucking insane, isn't it?
$20 billion. So if we look at it, I've got some stats here. So lifetime revenue, historical value, 20 billion. Current status, which is year 24-25, is 1.08 billion.
Right.
Cumulative downloads, it's currently sat at 4.1 billion estimated as of this year. monthly active users at its peak was 327 million in 2015 and is around 180 now, 180 million. Number of levels, this blew my mind. If I was to ask you how many levels you think are in Candy Crush.
I think when I was playing it, I got up to about level 600 and something. I was quite far into it. I remember it was my kids wanted to play it, and I put it on, and they were like, "Dad, you got quite far," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I'm not." I don't know, 1,000.
All right, let's go a little bit more. As of 2020,
2,000.
A little bit more, but we could be a while. So
80,000.
Not that much. Hold your horses. Now, as of 2024, it's got, I think, just over 16,370 levels.
Wow, 60. I'm just loading out. It's still actually on my phone, so I am just loading up to see. I might. Oh no, sorry. I was on. You can see it there. 1,220 is what I was actually on. So I was actually on 1,200. So I was double what I thought it was. So yeah, but how many? 16,000.
16,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not playing it anymore.
Now, like I said, there isn't an end game. They just keep waiting for more levels. Now, I remember another colleague of ours. She was addicted to playing this, and again, it's like I'm kind of glad I didn't have an iPhone at that time because I probably would have sunk some money into it. But this is exactly it. You know. Like it said there, you've spent weeks playing it. You want to progress. Are you just going to give up? You're probably not. You're in the thing, it's only $1. It's only £1. You know, it's not much.
I hate pay to play, pay to win. But I probably did at the time when I was playing it quite a lot. I probably did pay. I probably no more than, in total, probably no more than about 20 quid, I reckon, to play it. Now, what I should have done when you asked me that question earlier about games I played on a mobile, I should have looked at the games that I've got on my mobile because that would have reminded me about what games I've actually played. There are a few games that I have played on a mobile, but most people would be familiar with these because I've talked about it before, with one exception. So I have played Slay the Spire a lot on my mobile. Okay.
I think that's a phone game. I think, no, that's acceptable on a phone.
Yeah, right. Vampire Survivors.
Yeah,
is also just because graphically it's not, but you can play it equally as well. Balatro, I've played a lot on my phone. I've got Dredge as well. When I was super addicted to Dredge,
right? Okay,
I played Dredge on my phone, and the one exception I have because this game was one I got, and it's a match-3 game, sort of a match-3 game. I got super addicted, and if you haven't played it on a phone, do go and play it. It's called Grindstone, and it's insane. It's so good. You should try it as well. It's mad. It's called Grindstone. If you start playing it, you won't stop playing it. I won't say anymore, but yeah. So I have played a few games on my mobile. I lied. Sorry, people.
No, we're all about the truth here. There was a couple of other games actually for me as well. I did get into Call of Duty on the mobile for a bit.
Wow, that is one thing I would never ever go near.
But it's totally different. It's totally different. It's a lot easier.
I can imagine on a mobile, Dan.
But that was the first game that made me think, mobile phones, games on phones now are another level to what we had. Because
I just can't imagine playing something like COD on a phone.
Well, but what was that?
I assume you're using the touchscreen controls.
But I think it was almost like you could have an auto fire, etc., etc. So it's not, it's simplified.
It's not Call of Duty.
But what it was, but I was strangely good at that one. But what was good about it though is, like I said, it felt like that next generation of gaming to me. And I've forgotten what the next one was, so we'll see. It'll come to me as we're talking.
Well, Resident Evil was on there, and there was a bunch.
Oh no, that's what I was going to say. One of the early ones I think was on phone, but then it was on the Xbox as well. Anyways, it got addicted. Do you remember? Was it Hero Quest? So it was like a match-3, but it had.
Yeah, again, there's something I've never played with Hero Quest. That was kind of one of the things I was trying to think of Hero Quest, and there was that Kingdom of what was it called? But yeah, no, I've never played any of those.
But another success story at the time, and I'm not going to go into stats on all of them. There'll be some stats later on, but Angry Birds, right? That was, again...
I did play Angry Birds a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What about that?
I didn't play.
Yeah.
I hated mobile gaming. Yeah.
No, but
my
Angry
name's
Birds
Dan
is
H,
so
and I'm a
easy
mobile gaming addict. Yeah.
I was for a time, I think, now you're talking about it. Christ, you know what it is? It's suppressed memory, Dan.
Yeah.
I repressed
I think
memory,
we forget. I think we forget, don't we?
Easy to, right? But Angry Birds, I remember being so addicted to it. Then you got an iPad. So I got an iPad back in 2015 or whatever. And I was like, I think, again, I missed the first gen of iPad and got the second gen. I downloaded it on the iPad. I was like, I'm going to play Angry Birds on the iPad now because I don't want to put it on my phone all the time. I'm just going to sit and play it on a bigger screen. Yeah, that game was insane.
It was perfect.
So simple as well.
Yeah, it was perfect because it was colourful. It was cute. It looked sharp. It was really simple, but also very annoying because it was one of those games where...
Like the movie.
Thankfully not seen it. But it was one of those games where you felt like you could... It's right. Candy Crush to me always feels like there's a bit of luck. There's a random bit of luck and chance and stuff. Whereas Angry Birds, it felt like, no, I know what I have to do right. I didn't quite get that right. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to have to do.
That angle.
You could improve. Yeah. So Rovio Entertainment created that. Now, before developing Angry Birds, though, they created 51 unsuccessful games and was nearing bankruptcy. Really? Yeah. So this was their 52nd attempt, developed over 8 months. The game's success was a combination of its innovative touch-based physics, a low price point, which was 99 cents, and a strategy that included releasing a light ad-supported version. So I think I remember getting this. This was on Android. That generated or eventually generated $1 million a month in ad revenue by 2010. So I think we did see that, didn't we? It's elements of games like, it's like Netflix, etc. Now you can have it cheap or free, but you're going to get the ads.
Yeah, if you have ads on it, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Now you just have in-app purchases against everything listed in the App Store, right?
Now, $1 million a month in revenue by late 2010.
Man.
That's incredible, right?
That's just from Angry Birds, yeah, ad supported. Are you going to talk about Flappy Bird?
I will, a little bit.
Okay,
that's coming up. Actually, it's almost like you're reading my mind. It's going to come up.
I genuinely never got notes up because I'm too lazy.
No. I know you hadn't. That's the amazing thing. We're spending too much time together. You play Power Wash Simulator. You now started playing some.
Yeah, I know.
So we then get casual play coming in, dominating, and what was called the winner takes all trend. So this is 2011 to 2015. So by 2012. The mobile gaming market was realized that it was a massive, basically, it's a revenue money-making machine, right? Candy Crush Saga becomes a phenomenon, showcasing, as you said, the power of the match-free genre and the freemium model. So it launched in October 2012. Candy Crush was among the first mobile games to generate over $1 billion in annual revenue. So $1 billion in annual revenue, right? For a mobile game, right? So this is where we also start seeing something that I want to talk about after behavioral psychology, such as time gating, where you have to wait for lives to regenerate.
Yeah, how bad was that, man?
Yeah. Now, pretty much it's ever present in any game, right?
All of them.
So that's a way to drive engagement and spending. Now, if you're someone who has never played a mobile game, this is, a mechanic where you have various elements. So it might be an energy bar. So you've got a number of attempts. When you run out of energy, you've either got to wait half an hour to get 1 bar back, or chuck some money at them.
Currency as well. Like you'd have a currency spend in a game. Like my kids were addicted to these like cozy simulators where you got to build a mansion, like build a house and put furniture in, but you'd only have so much currency spend. But wait 10 hours and then you'll have another $100, and you're like, or pay us $100
give us
and we'll
some
give
real
you
money,
1,000 coins.
Fake money. But that was it. The Simpsons tapped out. You had 2. You had cash in the game, which you just buy general, but then you had donuts for the premium items. So, and it was the donuts you would have to pay.
But then spent a lot of money on donuts.
Yeah, but then you would get like
so did I, but they were real.
Pay £2 for 5 donuts. Pay £5 for 20 donuts. Then it would be like you start getting the packs, wouldn't it? Like, spend £20 and you get some cash, some donuts, and this other currency. But we start getting time.
Basically, Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite before Fortnite.
So we start getting time gating, right?
Yeah.
Now we see casual games flourishing, and what was called the mid-core segment also saw massive growth, which was titles like Supercell's Clash of Clans. So I think it's the ones that are starting to go up a little bit.
Clans, yeah.
Now, as you were mentioning, this period also shows how success could be quite viral through games. So this is Flappy Bird. So released in 2013 by Vietnamese developer Dong Nguyen, Flappy Bird was a sleeper hit in 2014, reportedly earning $50,000 a day in ad revenue. Yeah. Now, why was this game famous? Well, the maker, even though he was earning $50,000 per day, took the game off the market because he became guilty over its addictive nature and the unwanted attention it brought him. And then this led to an aftermarket where phones with the game pre-installed were listed on eBay for thousands of dollars.
Yeah, this is the same as things happened with PT when PT got pulled from PlayStation Store and people were selling it with it preloaded. And in both of these instances, I had Flappy Bird installed on my phone and I had PT installed on, and I deleted both of them before it became a thing, and then went.
How would you know?
Both times. Both times. Well, you don't. That's the thing. And yet, I had Flappy Bird and I played it for about 5 minutes and nice shit and just liked it. It's one of those, it's one of those gravity based, games where basically you have to tap the screen to keep something in the air.
Yeah.
And then you got a bunch of pipes and you have to make your way through the pipes tapping more consistently to get higher. That's not PT, that was different. But Flappy Bird was that's basically what that game was. And I just hated it. I was like, this is really shit. And then, a couple of weeks later, it's like, well, if you've got that on your phone and you say your phone name, you're like, oh man, you're like the guy who didn't buy the lottery ticket and you do the same numbers every week. You're that guy. But yeah, that was a bit frustrating.
But I think this was just incredible, as we said, because this was in the press. This was making news in like the media.
Yeah, it was on the BBC. It was all over the place.
Yeah, and the guy got so guilty about that he took it off. He took it off. I think
I don't know how do you want to get addicted to that game?
Oh God, no! It did my frustration levels in.
There's so many clones of it as well now,
and this was it. So he could, he felt guilty and he took it off. But then all that did was, as you said, make clones appear. Yeah, and he could have left
it was within days of it being off the store, somebody had created a clone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe like Clucky Chicken or something like that.
Yeah.
Things
Clucky
like that.
Bird.
Yeah. So we then move into 2016, and that sees a little known franchise called Pokemon. Pokemon Go got launched.
What's that? What's
I honestly don't know.
They get Pikachu on a bus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Now, Pokemon Go was...
Dad jokes. I'm leaving. I'm sorry.
We're not that podcast yet.
No, not yet.
Developed by Niantic. This was an interesting one, wasn't it? Because it was I'm not going to say necessarily it was the first, but it was the real big one that introduced like AR, wasn't it? Augmented reality. So using GPS data.
Played it for about 5 minutes and thought it was
I didn't play it at all. Great for
you saved yourself 5 minutes.
There was a Ghostbusters one that came out very similar. I did a bit of that. Yeah.
I might like that.
Yeah. Now that was cool. Yeah. But yeah, if I remember right, you would go out in your vicinity to find Pokemon out in the wild, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was like you said, it was the AR overlay, and then you'd have a Pokeball that you could toss, and depended on, like, you literally swiped up to toss the ball at the Pokemon, depending on your accuracy of, and I don't think it was just accuracy, to be honest, because again, it was based on, you've run out of balls. If you wait, you can then have more energy, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. So and then you capture the Pokemon. And weirdly, you say that, even today, when I was in Milton Keynes shopping with my family, there was a kid with his dad queuing up in the same shop we were in, queuing up to pay. He was on his phone. I glanced over and he's fucking playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, even today, people are still playing that.
Because I'm sure, didn't it come out recently that they admitted that was actually just you were helping them map almost like from
it was geometric mapping.
Yeah.
But basically, because it tracked you GPS where you were, so you knew where you could, because there were different territories, like grasslands and things that had no bearing on where you could catch them in your living room. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't but
this was a crazy thing. Then there were stories about like kids or parents taking their young kids out late at night because that was when these things would appear or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't use it in a car because of the speed you were traveling. And then you had people at the people at Niantic used to do special events where thousands of people gather because there was supposed to be a rare Pokemon that you could catch. It really caught fire. It was a mad thing. I mean, it still is now, apparently. People still play it. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't play it because I've said many times I never got into the Pokemon thing. It was after my time. But two stories. So I worked with a couple. Well, I worked on a business park. You know, the business park where we both worked.
I do know the business park.
I worked for a different business, but I remember I would meet up with a couple of old colleagues, and they would be playing it because they were using their kids' account because they worked in a different town. They lived in a different town. They could get different Pokemon. So they were getting different Pokemon. But then I remember one lunchtime walking back to the office because I would go for a walk at lunch. And it was literally, it felt like I was in one of those zombie films. There was groups by our old place of work, groups of people just staring down at their phone. It was silence because I don't know if it was a gym or something, or I sound really like I know what I'm talking about, but it was eerie. You just had groups of people in silence, just looking at their phone, head down.
Trying to pick up Blastoise or...
You could say anything to me right now. But within 7 days of its US launch, Pokemon Go surpassed Twitter's daily active user count in America, and it reached $1 billion in revenue in 7 months, which was the fastest in history, mobile history at that time. Yeah. Now, if we have a look at some of the impacts of that game. So first month downloads, it reached 100 million, over 100 million. So that was a global record for launch momentum. Revenue in the first month was 207 million. Collective walking distance, right, was by 2019. So what's that? That's 3 years, 23 billion kilometers.
Yeah.
Right. Peak monthly active users was 232 million. And then it had partnerships with, of course you would, with like companies like Starbucks and T-Mobile. So what this introduced was then the rise of the mobile battle royales. So you then got Fortnite and PUBG coming in 2018 that focused on multiplayer games. PUBG on mobile, I'm thinking,
no thanks. PUBG full stop, no thanks.
But also another one, as we start moving into the 2000s, Among Us, which was released in 2018, did really well in the pandemic because it was kind of like a social game, and that had 500 million monthly active players during November 2020 because it was a social game. And
my kids love Among Us. They asked me to play one day, and I was like, sure, and I was like, I don't understand.
I've played it a couple of times, and I just
I'm really fucking old on this podcast, Dad. I just like my kids do this, and I just don't. I go, all right, Granddad.
Well, I played it once. I played it. It was before we started this podcast up. I got invited onto Game Club Pod, and there was about 10 or 12 of us playing it, and I just liked it when I was the imposter because you could then just kill the other players. That was what I found fun. Yeah,
that's what Dan likes. It's telling you what he's really like here, people.
Don't clip that
Dan
bit.
Just likes killing people.
Don't clip that bit. So we move into the 2020s, and then we start getting the flashier games, right? So Genshin Impact 2020 showed
it's still big, isn't
it? Yeah. Well, it's just come to the Xbox, hasn't it? The console. So that shows you could have high fidelity RPGs on a console, and then you can have it on your mobile. Yeah. 23 and 24, Apple pushed this trend further with the iPhone 15 Pro. Marketing its A17 Pro chip is capable of running native AAA ports of Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, I've played the first two, but yeah, Death Stranding is a very pretty game. And to have that running...
Yeah, I don't know how that would run. I mean, obviously it runs, but I don't know how much they'd have had to trim of that visually to make that thing, because it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning when you've got it running on a PS5 like I was.
Problem is, right, they faced headwinds. Resident Evil
expensive.
Well, this is it. Resident Evil 4 and Village combined, this is generated less than $800,000 on the App Store.
Yeah.
Primary barriers cited include high price points. So Assassin's Creed Mirage, I don't know what it is now, but when it came out, it was $49.99. Now, look, I'm sorry, we were talking about value earlier. And look, I'm not denying probably what the developers have done, right? They've probably have squeezed that game in. But I'm not paying $50 on a mobile game. It just mentally for me, or psychologically for me, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't cunningly at the moment on the App Store. It doesn't actually tell you how much it is. You can get it, and then it just says in-app purchases, which basically means you can get it, and then we'll charge you for it. So you'll get their kind of upfront overlay.
Right.
The in-app purchases for the full game upgrade are 25 quid. So it's 25 quid now.
Okay.
On that's on iPhone, by the way.
Because you would get things like they would do clever things like release the first level. Then if you want the rest of the game,
exactly that.
The Mario Run or whatever, I can't remember what that one called. I think did the same thing.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4. They don't tell you how much it is in game. It just
maybe they've changed it. Maybe because they had such difficult launches.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you how much it is for the in-app purchase. But that, Resident, because you can get Village as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So I think it gives you the Resident Evil overlay and then doesn't tell you how much you charge for each of them. But I can't imagine it'll be cheap.
But the other difficulties were touchscreens, doing those kind of games with a touchscreen, and severe thermal throttling where devices became hot.
Oh they would massively overheat with them. I mean, I think they've solved that in the latest iPhone, the iPhone 7, because they've got the whole the thing that my thing's got, this cryo cooling thing in it, whatever it's called. I don't know how much they're charging for control.
Oh, yeah.
It says 5 quid. I'm not sure that can be right, can it?
Maybe it is one of those things, but if you want the rest of the game,
Maybe.
But I'm just seeing an eye on the time because I moved my notes over. Right. So ultimately, the last main bit I had was then you've got the whole change of monetization and subscriptions, right? So we've talked about going free to play, but in-app purchases. You then get subscriptions and battle passes and VIP memberships. So they account for 36% of mobile gaming revenue from 2022, with spending on just those subscriptions, battle pass, VIP memberships to reach 11 billion by 2025. Subscription models offer developers obviously predictable revenue streams. So why wouldn't they want to do that? And players who subscribe are statistically more likely to play longer sessions and engage with IAPs, as the subscription cost is often viewed as a sunk cost that justifies further investment. So
it'd be interesting to see what the demographic is in terms of people who are, buying and playing those games, like age-wise, and male-female split and things like that. It'd be really interesting to see the data behind them because, it's something I can imagine my kids engagement, because everyone is after this, or certainly this. I find it fascinating. There's very little patience in the world these days. Like I'm quite an impatient person, but by no degree. Like my kids literally expect everything yesterday. They're like, why hasn't it happened yet? If they have to wait for a TV, it's like Netflix, instead of batch releasing stuff, they go, you have to wait a week. And they're like, why? Why do I have to wait? I want it now. And they're the same with gaming. Like everything has to happen now. That instant fix of doing something like the repetition of really rapidly. So gaming, I can imagine, with kids who are like that, having something instant to play on and be there and kind of that whole ADHD thing and kind of, I've got to have it now. I can imagine that being the uptake being quite significant in that portion of the market. So, and it'd be fascinating to look at the data, but I still can't get my head around it. I mean, it was literally interesting, maybe just buying Control and going, I wonder how it plays on a Mac. I'd be fascinated to see how, but it still feels like a waste of a $5. It's like 42 gig on my phone.
This is then when you find out, it was a $5 and now I've had to also then pay for this to get a weapon. I've got to pay for ray tracing. I've got to pay for the main character. I've got to pay for a gun. No, you bought the character. You want the levels. There's a few things to finish off some stats. So it's talking about the difficulty now newcomers. So there are currently over 700,000 games available on app stores, creating saturation. But interestingly, right, there are certain places where, so it says here, like in India and Indonesia, mobile is often the only gaming platform available to a large segments of populations, with over 8 billion downloads recorded in each country. Right now, that was in 2025. So some stats. So global industry statistics from a snapshot of 2025 to 2026, global game account, 3.6 billion. Mobile game revenue, 103 billion. The India market volume was 8.18 billion downloads. So that's a world leader in download volume. US market revenue, 26.12 billion. And that's a world leader in consumer spending.
Right.
And weekly mobile game downloads is 95,000 per minute. So most downloaded game. And look, and this was obviously when I was researching this. By the time this goes out, things will always change.
Always, yeah.
Most downloaded mobile game ever. I'll just do the top 5. Number 1 was Subway Surfers, 2 billion plus.
God, that game.
Yeah. One I'd not heard of, Free Fire, 1.9 billion.
Is that third-person shoot, first-person shoot?
No idea. Roblox, number 3, 1.4 billion. Candy Crush, number 4, 1.4 billion. And 8-Ball Pool, 1.2 billion. 2025 mobile game revenue, the biggest game revenue was Honor of Kings, which was by Tencent, 1.68 billion. The only other one on here was Roblox, was 1.45 billion. And actually, the most expensive game I've got sort of publishing wise is Monopoly Go, weirdly. And that's a lot because of a lot of the advertising it does in the marketing.
What, to buy?
No, sorry, development and ongoing costs.
Costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we often talk. We've said many times before on here that the gaming industry is significantly bigger than the movies and music industry combined, but we never really back up with figures. But so you said that the mobile market is 103 billion, which is the majority of the overall gaming revenue. So gaming revenue sits at
55%.
187 billion for video games as of this is 2024, I think. So again, it's gone up since then. But at that time, the entire movie industry sat at 33.98 billion and music at 26.6 billion. Wow. Yeah. So, I'm like, how much bigger is it? Do you know what I mean? That's, combined, it's double the music and movies industry just on mobile gaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nuts, Dan.
Mobile
4 times the music industry alone and 3 times the movies industry alone.
I was blown away by some of the stats here. Literally just the last couple of things I want to say. So obviously we start getting anyone making anything for mobile. There was some odd games that come out. So just a highlight of some odd games was in the early 2000s, there was a game called Jeremiah Manford's Athletics. Now, why is that odd? Well,
I don't know.
In a bid to gain prominence on carrier decks, developer Morpheme created a game based on a fictional athlete, Jeremiah Manford, to give it the appearance of a branded title.
Nice. Yeah. It wasn't AI behind it, was it? I'm just going to make something up.
You had Cristiano Ronaldo Football Underworld. So rather than standard sports simulation, this featured him battling hordes of the undead.
I thought he was going to go around streets mugging people.
You had Paris Hilton's Diamond Quest in 2006.
Please.
And then you had Tingus Goose, a contemporary viral weird game where a goose head grows from a pregnant woman, illustrating that the mobile market still has room for highly unconventional, surrealist indie projects.
Not horses again.
No.
Did he get banned from the App Store?
No. And I just need to get this in very quickly because we referenced it in the opening skit. In-app purchases, right? Yes, we laugh about and joke about them. The most expensive one was Curiosity, What's Inside the Cube. So that was Peter Molyneux's. I think we discussed it on here, didn't we?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So this was a cube where you would tap out dots.
Yeah.
It was free.
Yeah.
But you could obviously buy things to make the tapping quicker and faster and more.
Yes.
And whoever got to the center was a life-changing thing, which turned out to be not so life-changing, but I'm sure we've done an episode. If not, we should.
No, we didn't, but we should.
We should do that. They had an in-app purchase of a diamond chisel for £47,000 or $75,000.
Yeah.
In Gun Brothers, there was a apathy bear weapon that was £394, $600. Gun Brothers 2 had Sharkette's pistol, which was £252, and so on. That was the other thing. So in-app purchases are fine when they started off as like £1, £2, but we're now getting £47,000 in-app purchases, right? Which is incredible.
Did anyone ever buy it? Do we know if anyone ever bought it?
I will check, but I know, because I think now I know, I remember talking about it on Casting Views. I don't know if they bought it, I can't remember, but I do remember there were apps that came out that were basically did nothing. They were just to prove how wealthy you were, and they cost like £10,000 and people would buy it, but the app did nothing. It was just to show you had that app.
Just to show you're a bit of a muppet spending all that money.
I wouldn't be surprised if some people did, because, you know, we shouldn't talk too much about it, but because of the lure of a life-changing prize in it. So I wouldn't be surprised if some people
just reminded myself of what that life-changing prize was.
And that's actually, we'll talk off air, right? Okay. So look, I'm sorry, I've done the usual way. I've rushed it towards the end because I've realised the time. But look, that was a summary of kind of like where mobile gaming has come from and gone. Dan, it's making millions, billions. We need to
billions even. Yeah.
When are we going to make the game?
None of it apparently from me.
Yeah. When are we going to make the game? Gaming Views the game.
I think you're going to want to buy it. Oh, it depends on the in-app transactions, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, £50,000 to hear you say I don't like mobile games. Right.
I don't like mobile games. I'll play them.
Right. Look, let's wrap it up there, Dan. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Every minute of it.
Anything you want to say to the listeners before you go?
No, just a reminder, please do like and subscribe to Gaming Views, and please keep commenting. We enjoy having the chat and banter with you all.
Oh, and do you know what I should have said right at the start? It's pretty much about a year old now. So we should celebrate that next episode.
Yeah. It's our birthday. Yeah. We'll celebrate next episode. Good shout.
Yeah. So, and I just want to say again, look, please do leave us a comment. I want to just shout out some of the regular commenters. So we get Cutty, we get Frosty, you know, Joey often leaves comments. Anthony Longmore, on Twitter, who's got us into the Retro Gamer magazine. Just a shout out to all of you currently listening. Thank you very much. Because as we said, you know, this podcast is touching it. This podcast is now a year old. And yeah, just want to say thank you all for coming along with us on the journey so far. And we've got a lot more to come. And with that, we'll see you next week.